September the 14th, 2019. Destiny Oliver was 5 years old, along with her brother Gavin, who's 2 years old, and her mother, Robin Howington. The defendant, in this case, went to a park. They would have played, they would have laughed, just like any kids, just like any family. And they would return home. What was different about this night is that was the last time Destiny Oliver would ever play in the park. That's what this case is about. That 5-year-old little girl, in life far too short, and one person's deceit, lies, and deception to cover up their crime, their negligence. And the person's the defendant, Robin Howington. The evidence will show that on that evening, all three of them returned home to 502 Boston Avenue in Knox County. They returned home at approximately 8:42 in the evening. And about a minute later, you'll see all three of them enter the house. So I'll tell you how we know how we're seeing them enter the house. At 508 Balsam Drive, the house next door had a home camera on the front porch. And that camera is situated angling towards 502 Balsam. So at the top of that screen, we can see the 502 Balsam property. And then in the top right corner, you see the front door to 502 Balsam. So that's how we know who's coming, going, the times. So if we play this video, and we begin at approximately 8:39, you'll see right here is going to be where the defendant's residence is. So the porch lights are not on now. You can see the camera's angled. And we believe this right here to be is a spider web. Maybe we dim the lights, please.
Get one back to lights, but it's not all of it, just one back. That's good.
Right there we have a vehicle arriving outside 502 Balsam, outside the defendant's residence. You'll see the lights are dim there, but not all the way off now. See another vehicle approaching 502 Balsam right there. He's going to back up. And that's the defendant, Destiny, and Gavin. You see the porch light just turn on there. That's 502 Balsam. You see a small individual, which is Destiny, entering the residence right now. Followed by the defendant carrying Gavin. Notice the car remains outside with the vehicle lights dimmed once Ms. Howington and Gavin and Destiny go inside 502 Balsam. Now we're at 8:44:26. In approximately 1 minute, you will see motion at the door to 502 Balsam. Right there. Movement at the front door, 502 Balsam, 8:46:05. In approximately 15 seconds, you'll see an individual walking from the direction of the vehicle towards 502 Balsam. Right here. That individual is entering the residence approximately 8:46:43. That individual is going to be inside that house for approximately 63 seconds. And then we're going to see that same individual walk outside the house calmly to that vehicle. the individual is exiting the house now at 8:47 and walking towards the vehicle. Now at this point, the individuals remaining in that residence are Gavin, 2-year-old Gavin, 5-year-old Destiny, and Robin Howington, the defendant. In approximately 10 seconds, you're going to see the defendant exit the house and go towards her vehicle. Right there, you can see her right there. See the lights. Right there. The defendant's vehicle then moves up closer towards 508 Balsam. Then parks still outside of 502 Balsam, her own residence. The defendant will enter the house back again at 8:50:15. There. That's the defendant walking back in the house at approximately 8:50:15. Things are about to change. Because at 8:53, Robin Howington calls 911. Destiny's been shot. That's what she says. Destiny's been shot. And a random black guy did it. That's what she says. You're going to hear that 911 call during this trial, and that's what she says. Destiny's been shot. It's a random black guy. Just walked in off the street and popped Destiny. That's what she told 911. But there's more going on during that 911 call than Robin Howington tells 911. And the reason we know that is because of 508 Balsam. Because that camera catches some other things going on. At 8:53, the defendant's going to exit that house and hide that gun under a bush. She's going to hide her gun. The gun that was used to shoot and kill Destiny under that bush. She's right outside the house. All while she's on the call with 911. She's hiding her gun. Well, Destiny is bleeding out on the couch. Alone. She is hiding the gun. While her daughter dies alone in that room. That's Destiny. And that's what this case is about. You're going to hear the first law enforcement officer that arrived on the scene didn't quite know what to expect. Had a shots fired call. They didn't quite know. So he approaches the residence with some caution. He's going to enter that residence and he encounters Miss Howington. Miss Howington sitting on the couch and he sees a foot sticking out behind her. She's on the phone. She's not holding her daughter. She's on the phone. And he asks, has anyone been hurt? She doesn't say a word. She just turns and points. And that's when Officer Cummings realizes 5-year-old Destiny was shot. He sees the wounds. You hear testimony that he was trained as an EMT. So he understood what was going on. And he scooped all 56 pounds of that little girl up. And he takes off running outside that house. And he's calling for help. You're going to see on that video at trial, you can see Officer Cummings running out of that house with that little girl in his arms. You're also going to hear a trial. Law enforcement continue to respond to the scene. Detectives Riddle and Warlow are going to arrive at the scene. They have a report that a 5-year-old girl has been shot dead in her house. It's a serious crime. You're going to hear that the defendant continued to say it is a random black guy when she speaks with Detective Riddle at 502 Boston. Destiny is going to be transported across the river to UT Medical Center. She has a gunshot wound in her hand and her chest. You're also going to hear testimony from the KPD officer that transports Robin Howington to UT Medical Center. They got Destiny. They got her out of there as quick as they could, and they got her to UT to get help. Detective Riddle, he's just trying to get some idea of what's going on. Who did that? Who's the random black guy? He's got a 5-year-old girl that's been shot and killed. It's a random black guy. So as law enforcement continues to respond to the scene, they're doing what they do. They process the scene. And Officer Preston Tucker is going to take the defendant Robin Howington to UT Medical Center. But you're going to hear, when she's in the back of that cruiser, her deception's continuing, her lies are continuing, her deceit is continuing. You're going to hear that she's texting multiple people to come get that gun. Not just the gun, her gun. Go to the side of the house. It's under by the bush where they're underneath the air conditioner. Go get my gun. And now she's going to tell her second story. She tells that individual, Gavin shot Destiny. It's changing. It's evolving. You're going to hear, once she arrives at UT Hospital, her deception doesn't just continue, it intensifies. You're going to hear that when she goes there, she goes into the bathroom and she's going to stand outside the stall of another female who's there. That mother, that she's standing outside the stall, she's there at the hospital because her son had been hurt. She's standing outside the stall. And when she gets outside the stall, take my phone, take my phone. Take my phone. She wants to get rid of her phone. Robin Howington wants to get rid of that phone. But this individual won't get to do that for her and notifies the police officers because they're at the hospital. They get that phone. When they get the phone, it's wet. It's been broken. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to destroy everything on that phone. We were able to get those text messages. We know what she was texting. We know what she wanted to cover up. And unfortunately, that 5-year-old little girl that you saw just a couple minutes ago, Destiny, was pronounced dead at UT Hospital. Next, you're going to hear that this is a homicide investigation. This is serious. At this point, Detective Riddle has a report that an unknown black man walked in 502 Boston and popped Destiny, killed a little 5-year-old girl, just like that. They want to get as much information as they can. They want to interview the defendant. What did she tell them about this? Because they want to answer this. I mean, a 5-year-old girl has been shot and killed. She's transported to the Knoxville Police Department where you're going to see that Detectives Riddle and Barlow speak to her. In her initial story with them that night, she initially was going to stick with the random black guy. Just a random black guy walks in off the street and shoots Destiny. That's what she sticks with at first. But it's not holding up. It's not holding up. The story is still not making sense. So she switches. She's going to tell another story now. See if this one sticks. Next, she's going to blame the little girl's dad. She says that Destiny's father walked in off the street and shot her. Deception, lies, deceit. Over and over and over. Well, that's not the end. When that lie doesn't stick, she tells another one. This time she's going to blame 2-year-old little Gavin. 2-year-old little Gavin. This time she says, when me and Destiny's father got in a tussle, and then 2-year-old Gavin grabs a bar stool from the living room. 2-year-old Gavin grabs a bar stool from the living room all the way back into the bedroom, climbs up it. At least one time when she says he's doing it, he's wearing her high heels. Climbs up on top of that stool, gets into the top of the closet, gets her gun out, comes back into the living room, and accidentally shoots Destiny. Well, that story doesn't make sense. Because when that little boy's measured, well, Gavin, even outstretched, he's short. Couldn't have gotten up in that top of the closet. He's short. She even tosses out that evening that maybe some Mexican men from the park followed home and maybe had something to do with it. But I don't even go anywhere with law enforcement. She is tossing everything she can out there, blaming everybody she can. So law enforcement will talk to her again on September the 17th. She tells more stories. One of the versions of stories that she's going to tell on that day is that it's just her, Gavin, and Destiny at home, and Gavin just went and got the gun and came back in and shot Destiny. Then she's going to tell another story. She's going to say, well, me and Destiny's father, Antoine, were in a tussle, we're fighting over a gun, and it goes off. It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up with the evidence. It doesn't add up with the physical evidence. And it certainly doesn't add up with that video. The times don't match. Think about that. We'll get them. So, Howington tries to hide the truth with her lies and deception throughout this matter. Lies, deception, deceit. Eventually, those lies wither away because they can't hold up, and the truth surfaces. What is the truth? It's not a gun, it's her gun. It's her gun that's used to shoot and kill Destiny. It's the defendant who hides the gun under a bush outside the house. It's the defendant who texts people and tells them to go get the gun outside the house. It's the defendant who then tries to get rid of those text messages, telling people to go get the gun, her gun, that was used to kill Destiny. The evidence will also show that both of them have what's called gunshot residue, meaning they're in close proximity to a gunshot when it's fired or handled a gun. Evidence will also show that Destiny had stippling on her hand. You're going to hear testimony from the medical examiner. That means the gun, when it is shot, no more than a few feet away from Destiny. No more than a few feet away from that 5-year-old little girl when she's shot. And the one thing to remember as we sit through this case, you're going to hear testimony, you're going to see exhibits, you're going to see videos. And some of it's not going to be easy to watch, easy to see. There's one thing to listen to. Throughout all of the defendant's inconsistencies throughout this entire case, there's one consistency. There's one consistency. Not once did she take responsibility for anything. Not one time did she take responsibility for your destiny. Get shot, killed. Ladies and gentlemen, that tells you everything you need to know. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you. Mr.